I'm kind of following my own page, but I also then forgot my credentials. So.
Uh-oh, do you want me to give them to you really fast?
I know where they are. I think I gotta get them. I started using Chrome on your recommendation, and so it doesn't have all the stuff saved that I'm used to.
I get that.
All right, I'm cool. Thanks.
Okay. Awesome. So I was just mentioning we're working in the website tab, and so if you want to add an image or a document to any of your articles or somewhere in the website, you'll first need to save that image or document in your media manager. So our media manager is just an in-house file store. It's similar to accessing documents on your computer. You've just stored them in MemberClicks.
Cool.
We've got 3 folders in here for you already. Our documents folder would be, of course, for you to put documents in. Now you can add or create additional folders. For example, if you had different versions of your membership application, you could create that folder. Now you've kind of got a subfolder. You can go inside of that and then save the different versions of your membership application or whatever those applications may be. So that just gives you a little bit more organization in here. And then I can just delete this folder. Same thing with your images. You can go into your images folder. Maybe you have sponsor logos, different versions of your logo. You can create different folders for any of those items. The only thing that I ask is that you do not mess with the site folder as far as deleting it or changing the name of it or whatever it may be. And the reason why is because the site folder is what's pulling your hero image and your logo to the front of your website. So if anything happened in this folder, both of those things would go away. What you can use this folder for is in the future, if you ever wanted to change your hero image, and you can start playing with this now. So if you have some pictures and you just want to see what they look like, anytime you put an image in this folder called hero.jpg, so it has to be a JPEG. If it's named hero.jpg, then that's what becomes your hero image.
Okay.
And so this hero image needs to be 2000 by 400. So if you are looking, that's the size that it needs to be. You would first, of course, want to X this out, so get rid of it and then upload your new one. You'll probably have to refresh your cache a few times or clear your cache a few times, and it also takes about 10 minutes to reflect on the front end. It's just it takes a minute to catch up, I think. To add any images or documents, mine's a little puzzle piece, but it's about to, we've got this little upload button. You would just select upload, find the item that you want to add. So I can put in the Go Live checklist, and we're just going to open. And so that's how and then at that point in time, we'd be able to access any of these documents. We'll also be able to link these documents up anywhere in the site. Any questions on that media manager?
Yeah, I uploaded one, but I think I uploaded it just to the media folder. Can I drop it or drag it and drop it into another one?
No, I don't think you can actually. No, you actually have to delete it out and then put it back, save it back into one of those folders.
All right. Cool.
Awesome. The next thing that I want to talk a little bit about is how we're going to create articles and link those articles up to our menu items. Now, this process has a lot of steps. It's not too bad. You'll just have to go through the steps a few times before it makes sense. But we're going to start by going to the Articles tab. So before we can link an article to a menu item, the article has to exist. So we'll always want to create the article first, then link the article to a menu item. Article is another word for page of content or page of text or page of verbiage, whatever you want to call it. We just call them articles.
Okay.
Once my designer is completed bringing all your content over, we'll see all of that content listed in this area. You'll be able to go into any of those pages of content, and you can make edits right in here. We call this our WYSIWYG editor. What you see is what you get, which is very true. The way that this looks on the back end is exactly how it's going to look on the front end.
Nice.
To me, I am not like a design girl, but I really get our editor. To me, it's really just as easy as using like Microsoft Word. This is an example. Did you have a question?
No, I was like.
Awesome. This is an example of our member landing page. So when your members log in, they're going to be taken to their member landing page. So you would have seen that when you went through your social community training. And this is the text that's associated. So you'll want to update this, welcome members to our new member resource center. You can talk about some of the things that you want to highlight in the social community, maybe circles, maybe it's the directory, whatever it may be. When you are editing this, make sure you do not get rid of this kind of little item in brackets at the top.
I get it, yeah.
Because it brings in the name tag, exactly. Awesome. To create a new article, we're just going to use our icons in the top right-hand corner. So I'm going to go ahead and select the plus sign for new to create a new article. The main icons up here that you're going to be using will be the new. If you decided you no longer wanted one of these pages, you could move it to the trash. If you ever accidentally move something to trash, you can view your trash and restore it. You can copy one of these articles. So if you want an article to, for some reason, have the same layout, same template, then you could just copy it. You can also publish or unpublish. I prefer, versus using these icons, you can also just double click on the green published.
Yeah.
And then double click on the unpublished. You can also use these little arrows to change the order. So these arrows here don't matter. We're going to talk about them more when we're looking at the menu structure, because that's how we can change the order in which your menu items appear in the main menu. But we'll talk about, that when we get to the menu, when we're looking at the menu itself. These are just articles on the back end, so it really doesn't matter how these are ordered.
Okay.
We're going to go ahead and select new, and I'm just going to call this member resources just for our example today. I'm going to copy that title and paste it into our editor, just because I'm going to name my document member resources. Now you'll notice when I created this member resources title, the alias auto-populated in. Similar to when we talked about forms, the alias is what helps create the URL to take us directly to this article. So if we typed in mdra.memberclicks.net/member-resources, it would bring us directly to this article.
Right.
Now, for our editor, most of these items are going to look really familiar, things I'm sure you've used in the past: bolding, italicizing, underlining, strike throughs. There's different alignment options. So I don't want to spend too much time on these things that you already kind of know what they are and how they work. But I do want to talk about some things that are unique to MemberClicks. And so continuing on what I'm sure you've seen before, font families, you can change the font style, you can change the font size, you can change the font color, you can change the highlighter color of the font. My recommendation is to never use these. And the reason I say that is because we have these formatted fonts created for you.
And they look like my website already.
Oh, really? That's awesome. Is that a good thing?
That's my colors, so yeah.
Exactly. They already match the colors of your website. It's great for consistency, but the biggest advantage to using these formatted fonts is if you guys ever go through rebranding or you just want to freshen your website, you can send us the new colors that you want to use for these different formatted fonts. We'll update them, and it's going to update across the board. So you're not going to have to go in and manually change all of your articles. It's just going to automatically upload. It's going to look like you have a brand new website and you didn't even have to do anything.
That's peachy.
Yeah. Couple other items that are going to be unique to MemberClicks. So if we wanted to bring in an image, I mentioned first you have to save it in your media manager. Then we would want to place our cursor wherever we want that image to populate in at. We're going to come to the bottom of our editor, and you're going to see a button that says Image. We're going to select that image button, and it's going to bring up a mini media manager. So any items that you've stored in your media manager, you'll have access to. I can go ahead and grab your logo. I just clicked that logo link, and I'm going to select Insert this image. Now, I may not be super happy about the size of the image, how the image and the text look together. May want to make some changes to the appearance of the image. To do that, I'm going to want to highlight our image, come to the top, and there's this little tiny cute picture of a tree.
I see.
If you click on that, we go to our Appearance tab. Now we can make some changes. Now, you don't have to remember everything that I'm saying in here, mainly because you can play around and there's an example to the right-hand side that's going to show you exactly what you're affecting or what you're doing. So alignment has to do with how the text aligns with the image. My favorite is left, which is going to push the image left and wrap the text top to bottom. The dimension is just going to allow us to change the size of our image. So if we want our image to be smaller, larger, whatever the case may be, we can put in the dimensions that we're looking for. I would recommend always constraining proportions, so keeping this box checked, because that's going to automatically fill in that second dimension for you that the image will need to take on in order to withhold its proportions. If I unchecked this and tried to put in a second dimension, it's going to force it to be whatever those dimensions are. It's going to probably look distorted, super funky, because I have no idea what second dimension this would need to be in order for it to keep its proportions. So easy thing here, just keep constraining proportions checked. Vertical and horizontal space has to do with the space cushion between the image and the text. And so right now the text backs right up to the image. So we want to change that. I always add in 10, so I guess that's 10 pixels, which has created this space cushion around our image. Lastly, we can add in just a really simple black border. And so I've done that here.
And 3 is how thick the border is?
That's exactly right. So we can make this larger, smaller, whatever it needs to be, and we can change the depth or the thickness of it, but I've just found that 3 is what I typically will use. So if I update this, now we've pushed our image left. We have that space cushion between our text and our image. We have that really thin black border, and our image is smaller. Any questions on how we did that?
No.
Awesome. Some other changes that I wanted to talk a little bit about is adding in adding in external or internal links. So this is also going to be probably a little bit different. The first thing that we want to do is select the text that we're wanting to link up. So if you said, to see our membership application, click here. Or to visit our sister site, click here, whatever the case may be. You would highlight that text. For external links, we're going to come to the top of our editor, and there's a little tiny cute link up here. We're going to click that link, and it's going to allow us to fill in our external link that we're wanting to link up to. So I'll just grab the front end of your website and plug that in. For external links, this gives us the opportunity to choose what window we want the link to open up in, whether we want it to open in the same window that we're working in, or if we want it to open in a new window. I always suggest having it open in a new window. Since this is an external link, it's going to navigate them away from your website. We really want them to stay in your website, encourage that they're continuing to search in your website, and then they can have that external link open up in a second window. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Internal links are a little bit different. We're actually going to come to the bottom of our editor, choose site links, and now we can link to anything existing within our site, whether it's a community feature, a menu item that's already up there, any of our forms, any of our files, anything at all that we want to link to. If it belongs in MemberClicks, we're going to select that site links at the bottom of the page and make an internal link. So I'm going to go ahead and just link up to our event calendar. I'm just going to select it and insert this link. Now, to really impress everybody, if you want to do something extra fun, anytime you have an external or internal link that you've created, if you highlight it and use your formatted fonts, we're going to choose heading 6, and it's going to create this super cool button that looks like you did something really fancy.
I am fancy.
I love it. So other than that, those are probably going to be the items that you're using most. If you are an HTML lover at all, we've got an HTML editor that you can use. We have an undo button, which for me is one of my favorites. Something I always like to point out, because a lot of my associations don't realize this, our spell check, you have to highlight the text that you want to spell check and then click click spell check in order for it to apply, kind of like a spell check run. Otherwise, it's not going to automatically spell check your text.
All right, that's important. I'm a terrible speller.
Me too. And then all of these items that you see in here, these are really just for tables. I am going to always tell you, and my designers will always tell you, please don't use tables in these articles. The reason why is because everything in our website is responsive. So if somebody's on a cell phone or a tablet, which I feel like so many people use these days, everything's still going to be workable. They're still going to have full access to everything on your website. But the second that you add a table, tables are not responsive. So somebody will get on a cell phone, everything's going to look awesome, and then they're going to get to this page and they want to view the table, and they're scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, trying to find what they're looking for. It's just not user friendly. So that's why I would encourage not to use these really at all if you can escape it. And that is kind of everything in here. After we've created our article, we're happy with the way it looks. Before we can save and exit out of this creating a new article, we're going to set our group access. So this is going to determine who gets to see this article. Since I made this member resources, I'm going to allow everybody to see our article except for prospects and the public, because they don't get to see member resources. They're not members, but everybody else can see it.
All right.
From here, we can either apply or save. The two changes here, if we apply, we're going to stay on this page, but it's going to reflect the changes on the front end. I think that's helpful if you're kind of wanting to make changes and then see how it appears on the front end. You can kind of toggle between your tabs at the top while remaining on this page. If you know you're happy with how this looks, then you can just hit save, and it's going to bring us back to our article manager.
I got to get the home up because I wanted to see the difference on my, but I was, of course, not finding the link because I'm slow.
Are you trying to get to it on your cell phone?
No, I'm on my desktop.
Oh, gotcha.
And I just wanted to look at the front end.
So if you go to website and you hover over website, you can click view my site and it'll take you to the front end of the website.
And it opens in a new window. Lovely. Thank you.
All right, so after we've created our article, now we're ready to link this up to the main menu or one of our menus in the system. Right now, it's not really accessible on the front end, so nobody will be able to access this information until we link it up somewhere. So I'm going to go ahead and hover over website, and we're going to go to menu items. Now you have a couple of different menu items. You have your main menu, a social network menu, and a member menu. You would have seen that member menu when you did your social community training. It pops up right underneath that, that little name tag that you saw. Do you remember that?
I think so.
We'll look at it when we look at one of your members' profiles. Okay, cool. So you can change that. You can make edits to it. So I think like one of the things in there is community forum. Hardly any of my associations use that forum. So you can always just unpublish it if you want to, or republish it, or add something more helpful to your members that they might actually want access to in that member menu. For our training today, we're just going to add something to the main menu. So I'm going to select main menu. And now this is going to give us an outline of what our menu structure looks like. Right now, we only have the home as a part of our main menu. So we're going to go ahead and select new, just like what we did when we were creating a new article. Now, this is the area that can be a little bit confusing. This is just asking us what are we connecting? What type of item are we looking to create? And so the ones that you're going to be using most common are the article content single article. So it's going to ask you, are you linking to a front page blog, a category list, an archive? It's like, no, I didn't learn how to do any of that crazy stuff. I just learned how to make a single article. So that's what you're going to be linking to a lot. You can also link directly to any of these other items. So instead of doing an internal link in my article, we could have just said calendar as a main menu and link them directly to the event calendar. Same thing with any of your forms. Apply for membership. They can just click it. It'll take them directly to the membership application. Other would link them directly to an external link. So those are going to be the items that you'll be using most often. I'm going to go ahead and select a single article. Now at this point, we're going to name what our menu item will be named. So the title of the menu item, this is going to actually be what we'll see on the front end. So we'll call this member resources. I usually like to name the article and the menu item the same thing just because it helps me kind of keep it straight. Then we can determine where our article is going to appear on the menu. So if we highlight top, then it's going to be another top menu item. If we highlight home, it's going to create a sub-menu of home. We can even create tertiary menus. So we can have main menu items, sub-menu items, and tertiary. If you wanted to create a tertiary, we would see like a dash and then like a sub-menu. We'd be able to click that, and that would create a tertiary menu of the sub.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and highlight top to make a new top main menu item. Yes, it's published. We can have it open in a new window if we want to, but since this is going to be like within your site, we can just have it open up in the same window. We can set that group access, so that's who gets to see this. And then we're going to select our article. So we've told our system we're adding a new menu item to the main menu. We told it that it was going to link to a single article. We've named it member resources. Now when we click that member resources button, what article are we going to? So we actually need to tell the system we're going to the member resources article.
Okay.
And now we can save. I'm going to go back to the front end of your site. I'm going to refresh. Now we've got that member resources menu item.
Oh.
We can click on that. And it takes us to that little article that we just created.
But your designer is going to populate that whole home bar with all of my current stuff?
That's exactly right.
Okay. So where do I put member only content other than on that top bar, which is going to link to my current website? Do you know what I mean?
Wait, so this bar is linking to your existing site?
No, I mean, so he's going to put all of the information, or he's going to replicate my bar from my current website, and then I'll have to put the information in there?
No, we're going to do it for you.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're going to bring it all over for you.
So where else do I put member only information? Like on the member login page?
Yeah, so you can do it on the member menu page, but also like what I just did, what I think, I don't know, it's a little sneaky maybe, but what I think is really nice. So I'm accessing your website in an incognito window. So right now I'm viewing your site as a public. I see that there are member resources, but when I click on it, it tells me I don't have access to this page. That's because I'm not logged in as a member.
Thank you.
So I kind of think it's cool when you create a menu item that everybody can see, and then they click it and they're like, oh, I have to be a member in order to see this, right? And so I think it's kind of cool to keep it in the main menu, and then you can just create sub-menus underneath this. So you could have member resources, and you can have member calendar, member events, you know, member registration, something like that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Cool. Any questions on?
I'm having a hard time conceptualizing how this is going to integrate with my current website, but maybe that I'll just figure out later.
So here's my question to you. If we're just linking into your existing site, sometimes what my associations who do that will do, sometimes what they'll do is instead of going ahead and recreating all of the content in this site, this menu up at the top will only hold all of the member resources.
It's kind of what I'm thinking. How do you make it so you can see my screen?
No.
So this is our front end. And I have these up here. I want the public to be able to see all of this. So should I create a new tab or like that says member login or whatever on this top part? What would you?
That's exactly right. That's usually how I see it. Is you'll have another main menu on your existing site, and it'll say like member resources. And then when they click that, it'll bring them to the member clicks login page. And then at that point, they'll be able to access all of the members only content.
And then also, I want to fix this, but so when somebody wants to become a member, join MDRA, it comes to this page, and I can link this then to the form. Like I would
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And they'll just all be external links.
All right. Okay. Thank you. That helped me. Is there any way I can get like a button up here that says member login, just like we have this pretty member thing here?
We can't create it, but if your web designer could create it on your existing site, then I would just send them this, or if you do it, I would just send them this and say, hey, can you put this on my existing site?
All right, cool. And then, okay, my other question. So
You're fine.
A lot of these programs that are starting, and this is kind of all old content because my website crashed, and never mind, that's a long story. So recently I've realized that it would be really nice to collect prospect information, like having an email window here that says like, enter your email to be contacted when this class does whatever. How do I do that? Do I set up and then link it to that form?
Yeah, so I would create, what I see is usually somebody has like a contact us or contact us for more information. We would just create a form that would basically have them log in. At that time, it's going to create a prospect profile for them. And then I would add like first name, last name, email address, and then like a comment section so they can say like, you know, why are you contacting us? Or what would would you like more information or something like that? And then they'll just come through as forms, and those people will now automatically have prospect profiles created for them on the front end,
so
on the back end.
They won't have to log in, they just enter their email address, right? They don't need to go
Exactly.
Okay,
exactly.
Cool. All right.
Because they would technically be a new member.
Yeah.
Like a new prospect profile.
So my class opens for registration in like 2 months, but I'm already starting to have people ask me questions. So I thought like, yeah, okay, I've got it.
Awesome. Yeah. And so here's my question to you. Instead of us creating all of your existing content, it sounds like we really should probably just create member-specific content. Where are we going to get that from?
Me.
Is that already on your site?
No.
That's what you were going to create.
Okay.
Right?
That's what I should create. So like, how do I do this? Articles. Wait a minute. So in order to get stuff up here, I need to make front page?
Nope.
Anyway.
Articles.
Articles?
First you'll go to articles. You'll create your pages of articles. Then you'll link them up to the menu items.
So there's so many member resources.
So maybe what I would do if I was you is I would start by just grabbing a piece of paper and writing out what you want your what you want the menu structure to look at or to look like. So maybe like jot down all of the member resources that you have available to your members, and then organize it in some type of menu structure. Then put content with it. So then create the articles that'll go with each of the menu items you want to create, and then create the menu items. We're probably going to want to spend another hour on this, and I'll just help you walk through doing some of that, especially since you're creating, I remember us now talking about this, especially since you're going to be creating all this member content on your own. Right?
Yeah. So I have 4 different classes that we offer.
And so you would want maybe different forms for each class type, and then you would just link.
I'd like it to sort of have a drop down, like marathon training, half marathon training, so they each have their own pages.
Yep.
So the main guy will be classes, right? Or no,
Yeah, and then
okay.
That's fine. That's fine, and you can talk about class. You can add information here about like classes. You would set your group access on the right-hand side, and then you'd hit save. And then what we're going to do, and I'm just going to show you so you go through this website, menu items. You're going to select new menu. I'm sorry, main menu.
And
then new.
Okay, new.
Article content. Yep, go ahead. And
then, right? I selected all for the group access. I want it to.
Now you just need to select the actual article that you're linking to.
Oh, thank you.
You were close.
Oh wait, I already did it. So it's in here. And then I hit apply.
Or save or apply.
Oh, okay. So and then I can go to my front end and I'll see, classes. And how do I create the drop down now?
So you would have to go through that process all over again. If you want to go ahead and do it, you can. So you'll create the article. First, you got to create the article. I know, it's a lot.
Am I using my time wisely, or are you annoyed?
Do what?
Is this a wise use of time, or are you annoyed?
Well, there's one more thing that I want to get through, but it'll only take us about 10 minutes, so we're fine. I know you're going to be in here working a lot, so.
Okay, and then I want everyone to see this, and then I just press save, and then I'm going to go back to menu items, main menu, click classes, and then this is where I get lost. How do I get it to be a drop down? Display in.
Wait, why did you call this title classes again and link to classes again? Don't you want to link to the new one that you just created? You want to create a new one.
How do I get it to come in under the?
We're getting there.
Okay.
Single article.
Thank you.
Name this. You got it.
Okay. This
and
is
then
where.
you just highlight classes. That's exactly right. And then choose your article, set that group access. You did it. I love it. So you'll just have to do that a couple more times, but eventually you'll get there. It'll make sense.
So
let me
totally populate this with all of the information I want people that are members to see.
Exactly.
And if I want to change the name, for example, oh wait, I'll go back to. So I want to go to articles. What if I wanted to change this to say training programs?
If you wanted the menu item to be called training programs. So these are the articles. I mean, you can update the article, but I would update the menu item. So cancel out of this, go to website and menu items. And then you would just main menu, and then you would just click on the menu item that you want to change the name for, and then just the title.
And it changes everything. So I don't have to, oh. Please be aware any links pointing to the old alias will need to be updated.
That's fine. You can just bypass that.
So, but I linked the one thing to it, right?
And that's fine. It's okay. It's basically saying if you use that in external links anywhere, you need to update the external links, but you haven't, so you're fine.
Perfect.
Is that your cool?
All right. That's
You want to?
And so I see down here I have classes.
So that's the content of the article. So you would want to go back and change the content of the article. So see where it says classes in the editor itself? That's what you were seeing.
Oh. It says page not found. What did I do wrong?
You go back to the front page, or go back to your yeah, and then refresh. Page not found. What did you click on?
So I changed the name of the article to marathon, or no, to training programs.
That should be fine. So let's go look at our menu item. Main menu. And then article, click on that. Looks right. Okay, go back to maybe the front end and just refresh it. And click on it one more time.
Refresh again?
No, click on training programs. There it is. It just is because the alias changed, right? And so it didn't recognize the alias. The alias changed to training program. So we just needed to click on the button.
So if I go to home, member resources, training programs. All right.
So let's really quickly try to go through our modules really fast, and you can do this part. So if you'll go back to the back end for a second.
Okay.
And cancel out of this. So you'll hit the close button, yeah. And then go under website, and you're going to see something that says widgets. It's like the fifth one down, yeah. Go ahead and click that. Now let's try to get through these widgets. I do have a call at 2, but it shouldn't take but just a second. So on the front page of your website, there's that main area, that main paragraph of information. So go back to home. If you go back to the front end of the site and then click the home menu item.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're fine. So this big kind of bulk of text right here that you see in the middle, that's our homepage main. Then below that, we've got 2 little baby columns, homepage left and homepage right. So if we wanted to update any of this information, we're going to go back to the back end of the site, homepage main, homepage left, and homepage right, those first 3. So you can click in any of those.
And this is what all that is.
Yep, and then you just edit that text just like what we did when we were editing in our article earlier.
Awesome. I wish I had like infinite time to like play with this right now.
I know. I'm glad you're excited as I am. I think this is really cool. Every time I'm in here, I'm like, I'm a website designer.
Well, it seems like, what do I need my other website before? Yeah, it's got some pretty pictures on it, but there's some other problems with it too. So
the next widget that we're going to look at, so that's how you edit any of those 3 pages of text or those 3 paragraphs. The next item, member landing page, my name is, which is the 4th. You can click on that that just determines what information is data merged in on that name tag your members see. So they'll be greeted with this personalized page. If you wanted to change any of this, like what is being data merged into their name tag, you can just go in that little name tag. You can click right in there. You can delete anything out. And if you wanted to change what populates in, you'll notice at the bottom of the editor, there's a merge data button. You would just place your cursor where you want to merge merge data into, choose something. I can't talk, I'm sorry. Choose something from that merge data drop down that you were just looking at. Yep, click on that. And then use that drop down. You can choose any field and it'll data merge in on that name tag. And so that way, maybe you don't want them to see their member type or their organization. Maybe instead you want them to see some other type of information. What else do we have?
I can't see where I would find their expiration date.
That would be at the bottom. Oh, there it is. Expiration date, like 10 from the bottom. 10 up from the bottom. Yeah. And you can just hit merge expiration date. Now it's going to put it like kind of in the middle. Obviously, you'd want to delete out organization. Yeah, perfect. Just delete that out.
So organization would just be like family?
Correct.
So I don't really care but they want to know their expiration date. And can I fit other things on here, or is these 3 things all I can fit?
I wouldn't fit more than those 3. You can take out member type and put something else. If you put more than 3, to me, it just starts looking a little cluttered, but you can definitely play around with it.
All right, just because like somebody might want to know what team they're on, or I don't know, whatever. Okay.
So you can play around with that. So let's go ahead and close out or save. You might want to save your change. The next item, hero content. If you click on that hero content, which is the 5th row, that's the information that appears across your hero image. Yep.
Okay.
So you can update that. That button that you see there was, we put that in as an example, but it was created the same way I showed you, external or internal link, and then using heading 6. You can type in anything you want in there.
I don't know what I want to have in there. Because they're already members. What do I want in that button?
A lot of times it's like if you guys have a motto or like a slogan, or sometimes it's like register now. Maybe you have an upcoming event, or sometimes I had somebody use it as a hashtag, like their Twitter handle, which was kind of cool.
Okay, so I can change this all I want. And I can change that hero whenever I want.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
Then the next item, if you go back to those widgets.
So it didn't fit in that box. Is there a text character limit?
There is. I don't know what it is. It'll just start kind of like it'll just start running off the page. I don't exactly know what it is.
Right there. All right.
Yeah. That would be it. So maybe just register for races instead of MDR races. Okay. If you'll go back to, and hit save or close, however you want to do it.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Footer info, that's just going to be the information at the very bottom of your website.
All right.
And then if you close out of that, I'm going to skip over those next 2. If you just look at the last one, announcements, and click on that, that just feeds to the announcements widget. So if you go back to the front end of your website, you'll notice on the right-hand side, there's widgets. Yes, exactly. And so that's just going to update in that little box. I'm going to save our sponsors, the calendar, and the other 2 widgets that I told you to skip over for maybe another training, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So do you want to go ahead and just throw something on my calendar? Just make it an hour. We'll talk about questions. This should be enough to get you started. And so just another hour, we'll talk about those last kind of 3 things from this training, and then we'll also use whatever time is remaining, which will be the majority of the time, for any questions that you have. Does that sound good?
All right.
Awesome. You did awesome. I'm excited about your excitement. Any questions?
Sorry.
No, you're totally fine. I do have another call. I was about to say any questions, but I am running a couple minutes late to my next call. So just throw some time with me on my calendar whenever you feel like you're going to be ready to do, reviewing questions, going over those last 3 things, and I will just talk to you then. Does that sound good?
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. I'll talk to you soon. Have a great rest of your week and weekend.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Bye.